Vyasa-san stood against one wall, and a temporary wall partitioned off the men's quarters. There was also a kitchen and separate quarters for the women. With difficulty, Prabhupada would daily climb the 2 flights of stairs and enter the spacious temple room. On the day of his arrival in Montreal, several devotees had carried him up the stairs in a palanquin, but the winding staircase made that too difficult to do daily, so Prabhupada chose to walk. The original Montreal devotee was Janardhan, a Canadian attending McGill University. Janardhan wore a long beard and long hair, even after his initiation, and lived in an apartment with his wife, who was staunchly opposed to Krishna consciousness. Acknowledging Janardhan as an intellectual, Prabhupada had written him long letters answering his philosophical doubts and requesting that he write essays and books on Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada was engaging everyone. When the temple had first opened, the McGill Daily had given Janardhan a full page to introduce Swami Bhaktivedanta and Krishna consciousness. The headlines had read, "Mind Expansion Under Spiritual Guidance." Montreal's French daily newspaper, Le Nouveau Samedi, interviewed Janardhan and published an article. They claim that the Hindu god Krishna is the father of Christ and that the inhabitants of the moon are invisible. About a dozen members had joined the Montreal temple, but so far they had done little to spread Krishna consciousness in Montreal. They had spent most of their energy maintaining themselves spiritually and financially. Although they had held some public kirtans at the 1967 World's Fair, mostly they had concentrated on transforming the bowling alley, cleaning, cooking for Krishna, and meeting together for classes and kirtans. When Srila Prabhupada saw Janardhan's academic studies distracting him from temple management, he asked Janardhan to appoint a temple commander. One night when Prabhupada came to the temple for his lecture, as soon as he sat on the Vyasa-san, he looked out to Janardhan and asked, "So, have you found the temple commander yet?" "Oh no," Janardhan replied, "not yet." Prabhupada then turned toward the altar and beheld the deities. "That's all right," he said. "Lord Jagannath is the temple commander, and we are his servants. Jagannath Swami ki." Srila Prabhupada ki. Look what Prabhupada had to do. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Are we having some technical difficulties there, Mr. Bangsi? We know that there was a couple of satellites down, but His Grace Asimananda is supposed to look after that. In the meantime, we'll chant. Everybody can pull the verse up on their phone. You have it? No? Okay. You can pass the phone around. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, 11th chapter, text number 27. Chapter titled, Swayambhuva Manu advises Dhruva Maharaj. Tam eva mrityum amritang tatadaivam. Tam eva mrityum amritam tatadaivam. Savat manopehi jagat parayanam. Savat manopehi jagat parayanam. Yasmai Baling Vishvasrijo Haranti. Yasmai Baling Vishvasrijo Haranti. Gavo Yatavaina Siddhamayantata. Gavo Yatavaina Siddhamayantata. Please chant. Eva mrityum amritam taktadaivam. Sava manopehi jagat parayanam. Yasmai baling vishvasrijo haranti. Gavo yatavaina siddhamayantata. Anyone else? Tam. Unto him, eva, certainly, mrityum, death, amritam, immortality, tata, my dear son, daivam, the supreme, sarva atmana, in all respects, upehi, surrender, jagat, of the world, parayanam, ultimate goal, yasmai, unto whom, balim, offerings, vishvasrija, all the demigods like Brahma, haranti, bear, gava, bulls, yata, as, vai, without fail, nasi, in the nose, dhamma, by a rope, yantrataha, controlled. Translation and purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. My dear boy Dhruva, please surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the ultimate goal of the progress of the world. Everyone, including the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, is working under his control, just as a bull, prompted by a rope in its nose, is controlled by its owner. Please repeat, my dear boy Dhruva, please surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the ultimate goal of the progress of the world. Everyone, including the demigods headed by Lord Brahma, is working under his control. Just as a bull prompted by a rope in its nose is controlled by its owner. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The material disease is to declare independence from the Supreme Controller. Factually, our material existence begins when we forget the Supreme Controller and wish to lord it over material nature. Everyone in the material world is trying his best to become the Supreme Controller, individually, nationally, socially, and in many other ways. Dhruva Maharaj was advised to stop fighting by his grandfather, who was concerned that Dhruva was adhering to a personal ambition to fight, to annihilate the whole race of Yakshas. In this verse, therefore, Swayambhuva Manu seeks to eradicate the last tinge of false ambition in Dhruva by explaining the position of the Supreme Controller. The words Mrityum Amritam, death and immortality, are significant. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, I am ultimate death, who takes away everything from the demons. The demons' business is to continually struggle for existence as lords over material nature. The demons repeatedly meet death after death and create a network of involvement in the material world. The Lord is death for the demons, but for devotees he is Amrita, eternal life. Devotees who render continuous service to the Lord have already attained immortality. For whatever they are doing in this life, they will continue to do in the next. They will simply change their material bodies for spiritual bodies. Unlike the demons, they no longer have to change material bodies. The Lord, therefore, is simultaneously death and immortality. He is death for the demons and immortality for devotees. He is the ultimate goal of everyone because he is the cause of all causes. Dhruva Maharaj was advised to surrender unto him in all respects without keeping any personal ambition. One may put forward the argument, why are the demigods worshipped? The answer is given here, that demigods are worshipped by less intelligent men. The demigods themselves accept sacrifices for the ultimate satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Jnana Tamanda Shagananjana Salakaya Chaksoram Latamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Lankaya Garam Yakripatamaham Pande Shri Gurum Dirataram Srinvata Swakata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Ridyantakstoya Badrani Vidunoti Surit Satam. So we see here that both the mood here for correcting the deviant misunderstanding on the part of Dhruva Maharaj. He is a pure devotee since the age of 5. So such covering is not simply personal ambition. There are some exterior factors involved which combined together give rise to the situation. All right? So this process of cleansing is there regardless of one's particular position. Sarvapadi vinir muktam tat paratvaina nirmalam. Upadi means some unwanted thing. Sarvapadi vinir muktam. These have to be given up. And in order to accomplish this, there's only one path. Rishikesha Rishikena Sevanam Bhakti Uchite. One senses, 6 senses, which include the mind, have to be fully engaged. There's any remaining personal ambition will give rise to such a situation. And this is the lesson. That even in this advanced stage of spirituality, where one has, what to speak, we cannot compare ourselves to Dhruva Maharaj, but we are seeing the form of the Lord every single day. He saw the form of the Lord momentarily, and then he disappeared before him just to increase his desire to, again, reclaim that vision. So we also have to be very careful about, Prabhupada said, not to become too familiar with the deity or the spiritual master. Familiarity breeds contempt. So what is the contempt here on the part of Dhruva Maharaj? It is contempt for, up to that point in his life, he has set aside all of his spiritual realization just to pursue one ambition based on some vestigial personal connection, that this is my brother. So this should not. We see that in the life of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, what he had to do to extract himself from family life. Has everyone read the book Vrindavan Bhajan? It's poems by Srila Prabhupada written during his time after leaving his family. When did he leave his family? What year? 1955. Okay, then he retired to Vrindavan. First he stayed at one temple at Keshigat, and then eventually he shifted to Radha Damodar. So he composed these poems, very profound in their depth and content. So everyone should read to get some understanding. Vrindavan Bhajan. And Prabhupada explains very clearly how he relegated all of these past relationships. They are simply a list of names now. Simply a list of names. Where is father, where is mother, where is wife, where is children? Simply a list of names. So at that time, his detachment was complete. Because he had, by the mercy of his spiritual master, he was able to fully accept his position, because one has to accept. One may adopt some cloth, okay, put on this saffron, now I am brahmachari. But has he actually accepted this vow? Externals, superficial, they're meaningless. It is all internal. Have you accepted this, whatever the concomitant conviction that goes with that dress? I have fully dedicated myself as a menial servant to the spiritual master. So here we also see that this analogy of the bull, or in this case also they mentioned haranti, a bear, because also sometimes you see in India that the bear is kept by some personality on the side of the road. When you go to the roadside stop and they're making him dance for the pleasure of the tourists, just to get some money. So he also has a ring in his nose, the bear. And when the performance is finished, the keeper clips the nose to the rope to the nose, and he takes him to the next dhaba down the road to perform again. So in this way, everyone has some connection. Doesn't have to be so gross, and it may not be so obvious. There are very subtle ropes. Just like at the time of death, we're reading in Second Chance. All right? The Yamadutas also have ropes. And these ropes, they bind the subtle body. So what can you bind the subtle body? There's nothing physical. They have very special ropes. And they're nooses. A noose is not a new invention. There's nooses since time immemorial. And they put them around the neck, and they drag at the speed of the mind to Samyamani, down a path lined with the hounds of hell barking. And one is slipping because the subtle body has a very tenuous connection to the material body. And that can be broken very easily for someone who indulges in intoxication. You see, many times a person in such a state, his physical body becomes inhabited by ghosts because his subtle body went too far. And the ghost jumped in. Just like if you leave the car door open and the engine running, anybody can jump in. And you're left standing there. My body. Give me back my body. No. Finished. These things happen many times. I've personally seen. So don't. And it's described here in many places. Of course, like I said, there's noose of Yamaraj. He's pulling them out of their body. And of course, at the time, at a certain point, then the body is no more. The body is empty. And that subtle body is now on its way to judgment. And so Dhruva Maharaj is getting very good instruction because he's on that path now. If he continues to pursue this, he will be condemned for deviating from his dharmic duty. He has no business pursuing this personal ambition. He has a kingdom to rule. He cannot just go off and do whatever he wants. That is the main issue here. That he's abandoned his personal and dharmic duty. And so we have to understand these things in some perspective. Not that this is just, again, a story. Yes, illustrates multiple points about how one should think, how one should act. Prabhupada even commented, said that personal ambition will destroy this movement. So just see how powerful such a situation. Now we're seeing here, and Prabhupada took the essence of this and gave us very clear instruction. Personal ambition will destroy this movement. When people set aside the mission of the spiritual master in order to further their own aggrandizement, then they are lost, and whoever follows them is also lost. So therefore, Prabhupada made a GBC in order to bind the society together, that it would take great endeavor to make everything lost. Very insightful and prophetic. The spiritual master's Trikala Gya. He could see. He saw what happened in his own society, the Gaudiya Math. And this is not something to be minimized. We don't have to elaborate, but the example is there very clearly what can happen. And so we have to be on guard. So what will all of you do as you become more responsible in spiritual life. How will you guard this movement? Are you thinking of that, or are you still only thinking of next day, school, work, job? There's a nice video that was just put out during the midterms by the GBC that gives some insight into succession. Because how long can this first generation be there? First generation is almost finished. Right? First disciples initiated in 1966. Right? So last disciples initiated in 1977. So 11 years. How many disciples were initiated? Who knows? Louder.
10,000.
How many?
10,000.
No. How many? Less than 5,000. 4,900 and change. So how many are left? People were thinking many years, 10,000, so many. No, less than 5,000. So now there are 10,000s, tens and tens of thousands. So the movement should be on very stable ground. But attention has to be taken care, not to ignore. It's like when you have some problem with your body, you don't ignore it. You take care immediately that it should not become problematic. You take initial remedial steps, then if it becomes worse, you have to do something more. Eventually you might have to even cut off the limb. That's happened in ISKCON. The limb had to be cut. Eventually it came back. But such things are there. Very drastic measures have to be taken in order to protect the society. And it is everyone's responsibility, not just the few who have accepted it, for the time being. Right? And this is Dhruva Maharaj is considered to be, an emblematic personality in his rule. I mean, what to speak. He has an eternal planet. Eternal planet. When everything else is destroyed, still the pole star is there. So such a great personality. So he was recognized by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But still, just like the Pandavas had to undergo so many trials and tribulations, there are so many examples to be learned from that. So this is simply another example. But for some it is just a story. And then for them, they do not get the true benefit. What is the essence? They cannot extract. Why are the devotees compared to swans? What does the swan do? What does the swan? What's the difference between a swan and a crow? The swan can separate milk from water. If you give him mixed milk and water, he can drink only the milk and leave the water. At the crow, he simply goes to the garbage places. That's what they call pilgrimage of the crows. So the devotees know how to extract the essence. So they're hanksas, paramahanksas, like this. And so don't become absorbed in the superficial storyline. It's okay. We even condense it as Bhagavatam for children, like Cliff Notes. They have such thing. You can have some abbreviation, but it is not for the serious practitioner. He wants to know the essence, right? You see, second canto, the first step in God realization. Everything is there. very systematically, complete. Even the essence, the Chatur Shlok, even the essence is given in the beginning for those who want to know exactly why or what should I be looking for in the further study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Not to become distracted by the story. Aham evasam evagre. All right? Krishna is establishing at the beginning. So this is something that just like in the temple, we have so many activities to perform. There are essential duties, and there are supporting duties. Right? Obviously, Shri Vigrahara Dhananityanana Sringara Tan Mandira Marjanado. So these are our absolute primary duties. We're taking care of the duties. Everyone has to rise early. He has to come. He has to wake. He has to prepare. He has to do this. These things are essential. But simultaneously, someone is preparing for the breakfast. Someone is preparing for the other pujas. Somebody is getting ready to perform for the pleasure of their lordships. And so on and so on. From 4 a.m. till 10 p.m., Prabhupada said. If you have gaps in your day, that is your loss. That is spiritual currency left to the side. Someone else will pick it up. If you have $100 in your pocket, every day I give you allowance, $100. It's a big allowance. When we were children, our allowance was 25 cents. You could buy a lot for 25 cents when I was a kid. So if I give you $100 and you lose half your money, someone else picks it up. It's gone. So your allowance every day is you have opportunity to perform full devotional service. But if you're running here and there, past this, past that thing, and no, I have to do this, I have to do that. Everything is an opportunity within the temple. Everything. There is nothing so-called insignificant, unless we have relegated it to that definition in our minds. So one has to be very careful. Think, oh, this is less important. There's no such thing in the temple is less important. Outside, yes, so many things. And this tadiyanam, this is Krishna's paraphernalia, even extends to the vehicles that we use. Someone is saying, oh, the air tire is low, oil is low, oh, it's okay. No. We have to take care of Krishna's paraphernalia. To the extent that we take care of Krishna, says, oh, this person, he has the correct consciousness. And what does Krishna do? So, Tesham satadiyuktanam, bhajatam pritipuraka, dadami buddhiyogam tam yenama upayanti te. Krishna gives you the intelligence. This is not academic. This intelligence is, Prabhupada said, you simply have to read the Bhagavatam and perform devotional service. Krishna will give you everything. You don't have to study. Someone's thinking, no, I have to study. What can your small mind comprehend? Krishna is saying so many times. He said, Aham evasam seva. He says, Aham shabhashi prabhavo, matak samvar. Krishna is giving everything. Sarvadharma pratyaja. He will deliver you from all sinful reaction. This is necessary in order to get yesham twantagatam papam janana punyapam. You have to be free from sin. And then everything comes, you will have so much information about Krishna, you'll feel, I have to engage 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, up to the point of death. This is my desire. Automatically, Krishna will take care of things. You're a grahasta, Krishna will take care. You're a sannyasi, Krishna will take care. You're a brahmachari, Krishna will take care. How he cannot take care? He's taking care of everything, everyone. Why he won't take care of me up on the 4th floor? Because I'm so far away from the downstairs temple room. Krishna can't walk up the stairs. Can't go. No. But we think, no, this is different, that's different. No. Prabhupada said when Krishna descends, the whole spiritual world descends. Everything is there. So wherever there's a temple, what does that mean? If Krishna is there, the whole spiritual world is there. Here is Vaikuntha, Prabhupada told us. Here is Vaikuntha. It's not material. To the extent that we consider it material, that portion of our mind becomes inaccessible for us to utilize. Rishikesha Rishikanam Sevanam Bhukti Ujate. It's like I have a room and I shut the door. So I have a big house, but I'm only using one room. I have to open up all these doors to utilize the full facility of the premises. Not that Prabhupada tells that story about, it's a generic story, but obviously Prabhupada had some experience. Some person goes to Vrindavan, he's made his money, he's taking care of his family, and he goes, my dear wife, my dear children, now I'm going to Vrindavan. I leave for you 2 lakhs, 2 crores. I'm going to, you simply give me 200 rupees per month. The Prabhupada said, so, he's giving everything to the wife and children. He's going to Vrindavan. And what he'll do in Vrindavan, simply for 200 rupees he'll eat. And what to give to Krishna. So Prabhupada said, so, you're telling Krishna basically that I've given everything to wife and children, but for you, Krishna, I'm giving 200 rupees per month. Right? That's all. What mentality is this? That for you, so Prabhupada said, yes. Krishna said, if you're for me 200 rupees, then I am for you 200 rupees. Yayatama prapadyante. As you surrender unto me, I reward you accordingly. So this temple is simply a facility for surrender. That's all. There's no other reason to have a temple. Simply to surrender. For some, it is easy. For some, it is difficult. And to know how to turn the difficult into easy, this is the whole point of allowing Krishna to guide you. Not difficult, but it takes surrender. And my dear Lord, from this day forward, I am yours. That is our prayer every day. My dear Lord, from this day forward, I am yours. It doesn't matter, you could say it every day, you could say it 10 times a day. You could say it every time you think, no, I don't really want to do that service, but I just promised in the morning. So what happened? Only 2 hours later, so what nectar do we have today to how to serve Krishna? One has to be always thinking, how can I do something in order to please Krishna? Not just the routine. What is the extra thing? In school, everyone has an opportunity for what? Extra credit. So what is there for extra credit? That's I should be thinking. Not just my routine. What can I do for extra credit? Yeah, there's so many things. If I tell you, then it's not coming from within. It has to come from you. You have to see it, your eyes. You have to feel that, yes, I can do this for you, Lord. I can polish the brass. I can make the ghee wicks. I can do something that's not my normal so-called routine. It's all our routine, but we compartmentalize artificially just for our whatever. Flexibility is an asset. If one is rigid, then he's easily broken. But he's flexible. No, yeah, I can do that. And I'll still have time to read and chant and eat. You know. So this is with Krishna we have to be, just imagine how Prabhupada must have felt. He says, my spiritual master forced me to take sannyas. He forced me. Came into his dream. He forced it. But this force was the spiritual master's benevolent mercy. But we can experience it in different ways, and Prabhupada chose to express it like that. Because it gives us some understanding of how much determination was there. That if anyone had been looking at his life up to that point, they would think, this is just an old man, retired chemist, failure in business, failure in family life. Because that which is of a spiritual essence can only be perceived by those who possess that spiritual essence. In the material world, sometimes they say, you'll hear someone say, it takes one to know one. It takes one to know one. Everyone has some experience like that. So this is it. So we're very fortunate that somehow or other we were able to recognize the spiritual qualities of those persons who were like Srila Prabhupada and those serving Srila Prabhupada. This point of being empowered is not a joke. It's a very serious responsibility. If one takes it lightly, then, again, as we said before, he is ruined, and anyone who is following him, they're also ruined. Unless they understand the situation very clearly and they have good association. So this is another essential point. Without good association, look, Dhruva Maharaj's grandfather had to come. Because sometimes we need someone in a very senior position. I'm not going to listen to my contemporaries. Right? We said that. Familiarity breeds contempt. Why should I listen to you? You're the same age as me or you're younger than me. So that's why we give some emphasis on the instructions coming from the seniors. We respect. We always have to, without giving respect to the seniors, then our life goes down. Why, when we greet a personality, one like this? What is this point? When we do Anjali, what does this mean? Why do we put our palms together? We say whatever, namaste. But what does it mean? Why not just go like this? Or why not do this? Why this? Because the life air is kept intact in this way. If you do not greet a respectable personality, some portion of that life air is lost, and your life is diminished. So if you fail to acknowledge a genuine spiritual personality with the proper respect, then your life becomes diminished. So there is nothing empty, no wasted gestures in spiritual life. You see the devotees who have taken the deity worship course. When they go to do Lachman, they sit down, they do this. You see. They're making their mula and their mudras and their mantras. Everything has a place. But intent and content are two different things. It's not just the content. Don't be absorbed or distracted by the ritual. The intent has to be there. Why am I doing this? What is the purpose? Okay? It's very. Otherwise, it becomes ritualistic. And ritualistic really has no place in genuine spiritual life. You have to be careful. We understand the essence. So we have a lot to do today, and we're short-handed. So there's more than enough extra service and extra credit to go around. Everyone should take the opportunity and find out how can I best serve Radha Govinda today? In preparation for an open house, it may be a rainy day. We may be thinking, oh, not so many people will come, I don't have to do so much. No. The mayor could come, the president could come, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is already here. They may be coming to visit him and her, the divine couple. So that should be our mood, to prepare, and everything should be perfect as much as possible. There's always going to be some slight thing. Every endeavor is covered to some degree by fault. That's there. But should not be by neglect. Should not be by neglect. It should be by circumstances that can happen. Any questions, comments? Lokik. Loud, very loud.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for the class. How do we develop the vision to see every temple of Srila Prabhupada non-different to Vaikuntha?
When you feel yourself a servant of the Lord, then it is very easy, because it's the mood. Prabhupada told us in Vrindavan in 1976, very famous lecture, everyone can listen. Vigraha or Galagraha. The Vigraha we worship with awe and veneration. And the deity gets first pick, not that I save the best for me and I give the deity the dry flowers and the old sabji. And Prabhupada even mentioned that, like that. That the devotees were so poor at the beginning of the now beautiful Krishna Balaram Mandir, that the deities were getting day-old flowers because they couldn't buy fresh. When the full wallas are finished for the day, everything that's left, anybody can take for nothing. And so the devotee was thinking, and Prabhupada said, and then, putting himself in the place of the devotee, he said, but whatever is there, at least let me eat. So they were thinking that the Vigraha has become Galagraha. What is Galagraha? A burden. A burden. The spiritual master has given me a burden. Everyone should listen to that lecture if you want to understand how Prabhupada. And what did he comment? He didn't comment that, oh, this, that, that. He said, no. He said that he could say the bhava is lost. Because things are broken, things are dirty. And the deity is not getting proper worship. So if things are broken and things are dirty, that is our mistake. Our spiritual life will be diminished. So the most important thing, and what did Prabhupada tell Janard in Montreal? Prabhupada could see that things needed some attention, and Janardhan was busy. Busy maintaining the temple by working and busy managing. He didn't have time, so things were neglected. And Prabhupada said, get a temple commander. That's common sense. So right now we don't have temple commander. You are all the temple commanders. So it's very important service, temple commander. Lord Chaitanya personally established this, emphasized, not personally established because it's since time immemorial. But when he went to visit the holy places, what is the first thing Lord Chaitanya did? You read it in his travels. He would go to see the Math commander and offer his service. Lord Chaitanya would go to the temple commander and say, how can I serve? Because this is the essence of what being a devotee means. How can I serve? So when we greet other devotees, we don't say, how are you? How's everything? We say, how may I serve you? Okay. Why? Because this needs to be reinforced at every opportunity. So, become a servant. Develop the mood of a servant. And then automatically you'll feel yourself in the presence of the Lord. You don't have to artificially. You understand that my Lord is here. I should make every endeavor to please Him. And I will feel great satisfaction or dissatisfaction, depending on my ability to execute this service. So, and I know Lokik will definitely, coming from a great line of Pandas, he will definitely do that for the glory of Lord Jagannath and Nilachala. Any other questions? Otherwise, we should get busy, right? Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki.